Sure, here's a great, deep, and very detailed summary of the full explanation above, in the simplest, clearest English, just like teaching a beginner or a child. I'll break it into small sections so you understand every idea perfectly. What is the main point? The text says the name slave dynasty is actually wrong. It's not the right way to describe the rulers of Delhi from 1206 to 1290 CE. Let's see why step by step. Background. Who was Muhammad of Ghur? He was a ruler from Afghanistan, ruled Ghazni and parts of India. He had no sons to rule after him. After his death in 1206, his empire was divided. In Ghazni, some rulers fought for control. In India, his trusted man Qutubuddin Aibak took charge. Who was Qutubuddin Aibak? He was born a slave, but he was very capable, so Muhammad trained him as a military commander. After Muhammad died, Aibak became the king of Delhi in 1206. He is considered the first Muslim ruler of Delhi. He started a new ruling line, a dynasty, which people later called the slave dynasty. Why is the name slave dynasty wrong? 1. Only the first rulers were ever slaves, and only in their early life. Qutubuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, his son-in-law, Balban, later ruler. All three stopped being slaves long before becoming kings. 2. They were not from the same family. In a real dynasty, rulers usually come from one family, like father to son. But Aibak, Iltutmish, and Balban were not related. Each one rose to power on their own. 3. They were officially freed before ruling. Being freed from slavery is called manumission. Iltutmish and Balban were formally freed. Only Aibak might not have had written manumission, but he was clearly not treated like a slave anymore. 4. Their children were never slaves. The next rulers, like Ruknuddin Feroz, Razia Sultana, etc., were born in royal families, not slaves. So, most people in the ruling period were not slaves at all. 5. Slave king is a contradiction. A slave has no freedom, no power. A king has all power and freedom. So, calling someone a slave king makes no logical sense. What actually happened from 1206 to 1290? There were 3 different dynasties, not just one. 1. Qutub-ud-Din Aibak's line. 2. Iltutmish's line. 3. Balban's line. Each of these men came to power by their own effort, not by being born into royalty. Historians grouped them together later and called them the slave dynasty, but that label is not accurate. The big picture. Why this matters. We often believe that the slave dynasty ruled Delhi from 1206 to 1290, but in truth, it was not one dynasty. The rulers were not slaves when they ruled. The name is misleading and doesn't match the facts. So historians say that slave dynasty is a misnomer, a wrong or misleading name. Simple analogy, easy example. Imagine a boy who works as a poor servant. He works hard, learns a lot, and becomes a great leader. One day, he becomes president of the country. Would you still call him the servant president? No, he's no longer a servant. He's a powerful leader now. Same with Aibak, Iltutmish, and Balban. They were slaves once, but later became powerful kings. So calling them slave rulers is wrong and unfair. Final summary, 1 paragraph. The rulers of Delhi from 1206 to 1290 CE are often called the slave dynasty, but this name is misleading. Only the first rulers, Qutubuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, and Balban, had been slaves early in life, and they were all freed before becoming kings. They were not from the same family, and most later rulers were never slaves at all. So, calling the whole period the slave dynasty is historically incorrect. It's better to see this time as a period where brilliant ex-slaves rose to power, ruled wisely, and created the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate. Would you like a visual timeline of these rulers? A simplified family chart? Stories of each ruler, Aibak, Iltutmish, Balban? Just ask. I'll make it super clear. Absolutely. Here's a great, detailed, and very simple summary of the passage you shared, explained in the easiest language possible, like you're just starting to learn history. I'll also add helpful context to make everything super clear. Summary. Misnaming the Pathan period, 1206 to 1526. Many people wrongly call the time between 1206 and 1526 in Indian history the Pathan period. But that name is not correct, and here's why. 1. What's the mistake? People think that the Muslim kings who ruled India 1206 to 1526 were all Pathans, another name for Afghans. So they call the whole time the Pathan period. But that is a misconception, a wrong belief. 2. Who actually ruled during that time? Let's break it down. From 1206 to 1451, most rulers were Turks, not Pathans. Turks are people from Central Asia, near modern Turkey, Uzbekistan, etc. These rulers included Qutb aibak, slave dynasty, Alauddin Khilji, Khilji dynasty, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Tughlaq dynasty. All of them were Turkish by origin. From 1451 to 1526, only during this short time did Pathans Afghans rule. This was the Lodi dynasty. So, only this last part, 75 years, of the whole period was truly ruled by Pathans. 3. So why is the name Pathan period wrong? Because it gives the wrong idea that all the rulers from 1206 to 1526 were Pathans. In reality, only one dynasty, Lodis, was Pathan. The other rulers, for over 200 years, were not Pathans. They were Turks or Persians. So calling the whole period Pathan period is like calling a whole school year math year. Just because you studied math in the last few months, it ignores the rest of what happened. 4. What is the correct name? The best and correct name is the Delhi Sultanate period. Why? Because during this time, Delhi was the capital of powerful Muslim kingdoms, and the rulers were called sultans. The term sultanate simply means kingdom ruled by a sultan. 5. Dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate. Here are the 5 dynasties that ruled Delhi between 1206 to 1526. Dynasty, years, race origin. Slave dynasty, 1206 to 1290, Turks. Khilji dynasty, 1290 to 1320, Turks. Tughlaq dynasty, 1320 to 1414, Turks. Sayyid dynasty, 1414 to 451, Persian origin. Lodi dynasty, 1451-1526, Pathan, Afghan. Only the Lodi dynasty was Pathan. So it's wrong to call all 320 years Pathan period. Final thought, in one sentence. The period from 1206 to 1526 should be called the Delhi Sultanate period, not the Pathan period, because most rulers were Turks, and only one dynasty, Lodis, was Pathan. Would you like a comic strip, timeline, or infographic to go with this summary? I can make one next. Absolutely. Here's a great, detailed, and very simple summary of the passage you shared, explained in the easiest language possible, like you're just starting to learn history. I'll also add helpful context to make everything super clear. Summary. Misnaming the Pathan period, 1206 to 1526. Many people wrongly call the time between 1206 and 1526 in Indian history the Pathan period. But that name is not correct, and here's why. 1. What's the mistake? People think that the Muslim kings who ruled India 1206 to 1526 were all Pathans, another name for Afghans. So they call the whole time the Pathan period. But that is a misconception, a wrong belief. 2. Who actually ruled during that time? Let's break it down. From 1206 to 1451, most rulers were Turks, not Pathans. Turks are people from Central Asia, near modern Turkey, Uzbekistan, etc. These rulers included Qutb aibak, slave dynasty, Alauddin Khilji, Khilji dynasty, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Tughlaq dynasty. All of them were Turkish by origin. From 1451 to 1526, only during this short time did Pathans Afghans rule. This was the Lodi dynasty. So, only this last part, 75 years, of the whole period was truly ruled by Pathans. 3. So why is the name Pathan period wrong? Because it gives the wrong idea that all the rulers from 1206 to 1526 were Pathans. In reality, only one dynasty, Lodis, was Pathan. The other rulers, for over 200 years, were not Pathans. They were Turks or Persians. So calling the whole period Pathan period is like calling a whole school year math year. Just because you studied math in the last few months, it ignores the rest of what happened. 4. What is the correct name? The best and correct name is the Delhi Sultanate period. Why? Because during this time, Delhi was the capital of powerful Muslim kingdoms, and the rulers were called sultans. The term sultanate simply means kingdom ruled by a sultan. 5. Dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate. Here are the 5 dynasties that ruled Delhi between 1206 to 1526. Dynasty, years, race, origin. Slave dynasty, 1206 to 1290, Turks. Khilji dynasty, 1290 to 1320, Turks. Tughlaq dynasty, 1320 to 1414, Turks. Sayyid dynasty, 1414 to 451, Persian origin. Lodi dynasty, 1451-1526, Pathan, Afghan. Only the Lodi dynasty was Pathan. So it's wrong to call all 320 years Pathan period. Final thought, in one sentence. The period from 1206 to 1526 should be called the Delhi Sultanate period, not the Pathan period, because most rulers were Turks, and only one dynasty, Lodi's, was Pathan. Would you like a comic strip, timeline, or infographic to go with this summary? I can make one next. Absolutely. Here's a deep, detailed, very simple summary of the passage of Qutub-ud-Din Aibak's early career, before he became king in 1206, written like I'm teaching a total beginner or a child. Super simple and deep summary of Qutub-ud-Din Aibak's early career, before 1206. 1. Aibak's birth and early life as a slave. Qutub-ud-Din Aibak was born in Turkestan, a region in Central Asia, modern-day parts of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, etc. He was born into a Turkish Muslim family, but sadly, as a child, he was sold as a slave. He was taken to a city called Nishapur in today's Iran, where a Muslim judge called a Qazi bought him. In the Qazi's home, he lived and worked, but he also got lucky. He learned horse riding, fighting, and basic reading and writing while spending time with the Qazi's sons. Key point. Even though he was a slave, Aibak used his time wisely. He learned skills that would later help him become powerful. 2. Sold again, but rose higher. After the Qazi, his master, died, Aibak was sold again, this time by the Qazi's sons. Eventually, he was bought by Muhammad of Ghur, also called Muhammad Ghori, a powerful king from Afghanistan who was trying to conquer India. 3. Aibak's rise under Muhammad of Ghur. Aibak started as a servant, but impressed Muhammad with his bravery in battle. He never ran away. His strong, confident personality. His kindness and generosity, even though he himself had been a slave. Muhammad trusted him and gave him important jobs. He became commander of part of the army. He was later made master of the stables, Amir Akur. A powerful post that meant he was in charge of all war horses. In those days, horses were as important as tanks today. They were used in battles, travel, and for status. Being in charge of the horses was a high military position. 4. After the Battle of Tarin, 1192, full control of India. In 1192, Muhammad of Ghur defeated the Indian king Prithviraj Chauhan at the Second Battle of Tarin. After this big victory, Muhammad went back to Afghanistan, but left Aibak in full charge of his Indian territories. He gave Aibak full power to rule in his name. That means Aibak could make all major decisions while Muhammad was away. 5. Aibak's capital, Indraprastha, near Delhi. Aibak made his headquarters in Indraprastha, a place near today's Delhi. From there, he began to organize and govern the new Turkish territories in India. Think of Indraprastha as his capital city, where he managed armies, taxes, and administration. Final summary in one line. Qutub-ud-Din Aibak rose from being a poor slave boy to becoming the most powerful general in India under Muhammad of Ghur because of his bravery, loyalty, skills, and leadership. Why is this important in history? Aibak was not just a general. He laid the foundation for Muslim rule in India. After Muhammad of Ghur died in 1206, Aibak declared himself the ruler and started the Delhi Sultanate, one of the biggest empires in medieval India. Would you like me to continue with what happened after 1206, when he became king, in the same style? Here's a great, deep, detailed, and very simple summary of the entire passage, explained in an easy way like you're new to the topic, with full clarity, step by step. Summary of Qutub ud-Din Aibak's early conquests in India, 1192 to 1203 CE. Who was Qutub ud-Din Aibak? Qutub ud-Din Aibak was a Turkish military general commander who worked under Muhammad of Ghur, the ruler from Afghanistan who defeated the Rajput king, Prithviraj Chauhan, in the Second Battle of Tarain in 1192. After the battle, Muhammad of Ghur went back to Central Asia and left Aibak in charge of the newly conquered parts of North India. What did Aibak do after 1192? 1. Defeated rebellions. Right after his master left, Aibak crushed rebellions in Ajmer and Meerut, both in northwest India. Many local rulers and people didn't accept Turkish rule in rebellion. Aibak had to keep defeating them again and again. Second rebellion in Ajmer, 94. Third rebellion in Ajmer, 1195. He also captured Koil, modern Aligarh, on the way. 2. Captured important cities. He took over Delhi, which later became the capital of the Delhi Sultanate, a Muslim kingdom in India. He also captured Chandawar, Kanauj, which belonged to Jaichand, a powerful Hindu king. 3. Helped in major battles. In 1194, Muhammad of Ghur came back to India. He and Aibak fought against Raja Jaichand of the Gahadwala dynasty, ruler of Kanauj. Aibak played a major role in the battle, which ended with Jaichand being defeated and killed. 4. Expanded the empire. He went on military expeditions, campaigns, into different parts of India. Ranthambore, a strong fort in Rajasthan, captured during his campaign against rebels. Sirohi, a small kingdom in Rajputana, Rajasthan, subdued, defeated. Part of Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, probably taken over but not permanently. Anhilwara, modern Patan in Gujarat, attacked and looted, plundered and ravaged. These western conquests, Rajasthan, Gujarat, were hard to keep, so many didn't last long. 5. Conquered central and eastern India. In 1202 to 1203, Aibak attacked Bundelkhand, central India. He defeated Paramardi Deva, the ruler of the Chandela dynasty, and captured Kalinjar, a powerful fort, Mahoba, Khajuraho, famous for its temples. One of Aibak's commanders, Ikhtiaruddin Muhammad Bakhtiar Khalji, went even further east. He conquered Bihar and parts of Bengal. This marked the beginning of Turkish control over eastern India. By 1203 CE, even before becoming king, Qutub ud-Din Aibak had already defeated many rebellions, captured key cities like Delhi, Ajmer, Kanauj, and Kalinjar, fought major battles like the one against Jaichand, expanded Turkish control across northern, western, and eastern India, acted as powerful lieutenant, deputy in India. He became the foundation builder of the Delhi Sultanate, and after Muhammad's death, he became the first independent sultan of Delhi. Why is this important? This marks the real beginning of Muslim political rule in India. Aibak's actions helped create what would later become a long-lasting empire, the Delhi Sultanate, which ruled India for about 300 years. It shows how military conquest, clever leadership, and brutal suppression of rebellion helped establish a new political power in Indian history. Let me know if you want a timeline, map summary, or a list of battles and places next. Absolutely. Let me now give you the deepest, most detailed, and simplest explanation of this topic, as if teaching someone with no background at all. I will break it down even more step by step, using comparisons and where needed. Full, deep explanation of the accession of Qutub ud-Din Aibak, like teaching a child or total beginner step by step. Who was Qutub-ud-din Aibak? He started as a slave. Qutub-ud-din Aibak was not born royal. He was bought as a slave boy in Central Asia. His master was Muhammad of Ghur, ruler of the Ghurid Empire in Afghanistan. Think of Aibak like a poor boy who got trained in fighting, managing lands, and ruling people, slowly gaining trust. Who was Muhammad of Ghur? He was a ruler from Ghur in modern-day Afghanistan. He invaded and conquered parts of northern India in the late 1100 CE. He defeated big Indian kings like Prithviraj Chauhan. But instead of ruling India directly, he put his slave generals in charge, especially Qutub-ud-din Aibak. Muhammad was like a boss who wins a country, but lets his most trusted officer manage it for him. Before Muhammad died, he gave special power to Aibak. In 1206, Muhammad of Ghur gave Aibak the title Malik, means king or ruler, made him his viceroy, deputy ruler of Hindu. This meant, you will rule India in my name. He trusted Aibak fully to manage this big faraway land. Muhammad died 1206. Aibak's chance came. What happened? Muhammad of Ghur was murdered in 1206, killed by enemies, probably tribal rebels. His empire broke into pieces because he had no strong sons to take over. All his slave generals in different places, like Aibak in India, Yildiz in Ghazni, Kubacha in Multan, began ruling on their own. People of Lahore invited Aibak. The city of Lahore, an important center in North India, sent word to Aibak, come take charge, become our king. Why Lahore? Because Aibak was already famous as a brave general. He had ruled large parts of India for years under Muhammad. People respected him and saw him as the right choice. Aibak came to Lahore and took power. Aibak left Delhi and went to Lahore. He took control of the government. He became the real ruler, even though he didn't yet have an official crowning ceremony. This happened soon after Muhammad's death in March 1206. His formal coronation happened on the 24th June 1206, about 3 months later. Why did he wait 3 months for formal accession? He used the time to gather support, build a strong group of followers, secure military strength in case others challenged him, make alliances through marriages, very important in those days. Clever marriage alliances. Aibak knew, to stay in power, I need friends, not enemies. So he married and arranged marriages to build political friendships. 1. He married the daughter of Tajuddin Yildiz, a powerful general in Ghazni, Afghanistan. 2. He gave his daughter in marriage to Iltutmish, a capable noble in his service. Iltutmish later became the next great ruler. 3. He gave his sister in marriage to Nasiruddin Kubacha, who ruled in Multan, Punjab. These marriages made sure that powerful neighboring rulers would not attack him, and maybe even help him. What titles did he use? After becoming ruler, Aibak used the titles Malik, ruler, Sipasalar, commander of the army. But he did not call himself Sultan yet, and here's why. He was still a slave, not officially free. Even though he ruled a large region, Aibak had not yet been freed legally from slavery. In those days, a slave couldn't become a sultan without being officially freed, called manumission. Also, true kings printed coins in their own name and had the Friday prayers, Qutub, read in their name. Aibak did neither yet. So even though he had real power, he was not yet officially king. Became official sultan in 1208. In 1208, 2 years later, Muhammad's successor, Ghiyasuddin Mahmud, sent him the royal flag standard, the insignia symbol of kingship, and gave him the title of sultan. This meant you are now legally and officially Sultan of Hindustan. What did he rule? By 1208, Qutb-ud-din Aibak was de facto, in reality, ruler of most of northern India, including cities like Delhi, Lahore, Ajmer, and Kannauj. He now ruled independently, not just as a servant of someone else. Why is this important? Aibak's succession marks the start of the Delhi Sultanate, 1206 CE, a big Muslim kingdom that ruled parts of India for over 300 years. He was the first Muslim king of India from the Mamluk slave dynasty. A wise, kind, and generous man, he was called Lak Baksh, meaning giver of lakhs, the builder of the Qutub Minar in Delhi. Final deep summary. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, born a slave, rose through the ranks to become one of Muhammad of Ghur's most trusted generals. Before dying, Muhammad gave him the title Malik and made him viceroy in India. After Muhammad's death in 1206, Aibak was invited by the people of Lahore to take charge. He moved from Delhi to Lahore, took over power, and began ruling. Over the next 3 months, he carefully built support and made smart marriage alliances. Though he ruled like a king, he did not yet call himself sultan because he was still technically a slave and did not issue coins or have prayers in his name. In 1208, after getting official recognition and freedom from Ghiyas-ud-Din Mahmud, he was given the title of sultan. From then on, Aibak became the true king of a large part of India and laid the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate, a turning point in Indian history. Would you like a timeline of these events? A chart of key characters and relationships? A map showing the regions Aibak ruled? Let me know and I'll make it visual and even easier. Here is a great detailed and very simple summary of the full passage about Qutb-ud-Din Aibak's rule, explained like teaching a beginner or child with full clarity. Summary of Qutb-ud-Din Aibak's rule, 1206 to 1210 CE. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak was the first ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Though he had been a slave and military general, he rose to power after the death of his master, Muhammad of Ghur, in 1206 CE. Northern India for only 4 years, until 1210 CE, and in this short time, he focused mostly on controlling what had already been conquered, not on expanding the kingdom or building a proper government system. 1. Rule based only on the army. Aibak's administration was completely military in nature. He did not start any new wars to conquer more land. He did not build a strong or smart system of government. He had no time and no experience. His power was based mostly on the support of the army, not on good planning or lawmaking. Why is this important? A government that depends only on force, military, and not on well-planned rules and officers cannot last long or run smoothly. 2. Military control, not civil government. He kept a large force in the capital, Delhi. He also placed military garrisons, groups of soldiers, in major towns across India. His method of control was fear and force, not good governance. Problem: soldiers know how to fight, not how to collect taxes, settle disputes, or manage people peacefully. So the administration was rough and not professional. 3. No strong civil system was created. Qutb did not build a civil, non-military administration. He did not create new laws, offices, or systems for collecting revenue, taxes. He kept the old Indian Hindu officers in local areas and allowed them to use the old tax rules. This was probably because he lacked time, and he was more focused on keeping order than making big changes. What does this show? His rule was more about maintaining power than building a lasting empire. 4. Muslim officers and judges, qazis. In big cities and the capital, he placed Muslim officers in charge. These were mostly soldiers, not trained administrators. It is likely that there were qazis, Muslim judges, in Delhi and in some of the conquered areas to give Islamic justice, but the system was not well organized. Justice under him was harsh and unplanned. There was no proper legal system. Overall weakness of Sure. Here's a great detailed summary of the passage about Qutb-ud-Din's foreign policy, explained simply and clearly. Detailed summary of Qutb-ud-Din's foreign policy. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, the first ruler of the Delhi Sultanate after Muhammad of Ghur died in 1206, spent most of his time and energy dealing with many foreign challenges and threats. 1. Rival Muslim rulers. After Muhammad of Ghur's death, his large empire broke into smaller parts controlled by his generals. 2 important rivals of Qutb-ud-Din were Taj-ud-Din Yildiz and Nasir-ud-Din Kubacha. Each of them ruled powerful regions, Yildiz in Ghazni in Afghanistan and Kubacha in Sindh, now Pakistan. These rulers did not accept Qutb as their superior and challenged his authority, creating a situation of competition and conflict among the former generals. 2. Hindu kings reclaiming power. During Muhammad of Ghur's rule, many Hindu kingdoms had been defeated and forced to accept Muslim rule. But with Muhammad's death and the weakening of central power, these Hindu chiefs saw a chance to regain their independence. The Chandelas, a Rajput dynasty, recovered their capital, Kalinjar, in 1206. Kalinjar was a famous fortress and a symbol of Chandela power. The Gahadwaras, under their leader Harish Chandra, regained control over important towns like Farrukhabad and Badaun in northern India. The Pratiharas, another Rajput family, took back the city of Gwalior, known for its strong hill fort. This shows that Hindu rulers were actively fighting to restore their lost kingdoms. 3. Chaos in Bengal and Bihar. In eastern India, the provinces of Bengal and Bihar were in turmoil after the death of Ikhtiar-ud-Din Bakhtiar Khilji, the Muslim general who had conquered the region for Muhammad of Ghur. His death led to a power vacuum and revolution, with different groups fighting for control, causing instability in these important provinces. What does all this mean? Qutb-ud-Din's time as ruler was very difficult. He had to constantly fight against other strong Muslim generals who want to be independent and powerful, Hindu kings and Rajput chiefs who wanted to regain their kingdoms lost earlier, revolts and chaos in far-off provinces like Bengal and Bihar caused by weak leadership. Because of these challenges, Qutb-ud-Din's reign was full of wars, battles, and political struggles. His foreign policy was mainly about defending his kingdom, trying to unify the broken empire, and stopping enemies from taking his land. If you want, I can also explain more about the places, people, or what happened next after Qutb-ud-Din. Just let me know. Absolutely. Here's a much deeper, very detailed summary, with extra explanations to help you fully understand everything clearly, step by step. Deep and detailed summary. The story of the infant Delhi kingdom and its challenges. 1. The background. A new kingdom in a dangerous place. The Turkish kingdom of Delhi was just born, very young and weak. It was like a small child in a world full of stronger and older kingdoms. This kingdom was made by Turkish rulers who came from Central Asia. Because it was new, it was easy for enemies to attack or take over its important cities. 2. Main danger from Central Asia. The greatest danger came from the northwest, from Central Asia. Central Asia was home to strong rulers and armies who wanted to expand their power. One very important and powerful king was Alauddin Muhammad, the Khwarizm Shah. He was the ruler of a big empire called the Khwarizm Empire in Central Asia. He had his eyes set on Ghazni and Delhi, two very important cities for controlling the region. Why Ghazni and Delhi? Because these cities were strategic military and trading centers. Controlling them meant controlling important parts of northern India and the route to Central Asia. 3. Other enemies. The Rajputs and rival nobles. The Rajputs were Indian warriors and kings. Before the Turkish kingdom came, they ruled many areas in northern India. They wanted to get back their lands and power. Inside the Turkish kingdom, there were also problems. Two powerful rivals named Kubacha and Yulduz wanted to take power for themselves. These rivals made it harder for the kingdom to stay united. 4. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak's task. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak was the main leader after the death of Muhammad of Ghur, the earlier Turkish ruler. His job was very difficult because he had to stop the Khwarizm Shah from taking Ghazni and Delhi, stop the Rajputs from regaining their lands, deal with his own rivals, Kubacha and Yulduz. He took this responsibility very seriously. 5. Strategic move to Lahore. To better protect the kingdom from the northwest threat, Aibak moved from Delhi to Lahore. Lahore was a city much closer to the border with Central Asia. This move was smart because it put him closer to the possible enemies. It allowed him to react faster to any attack. Aibak stayed in Lahore for the rest of his life, focusing on defending the frontier. Part 6. The battle over Ghazni. Ghazni, an important city in present-day Afghanistan, was very important for controlling the route to India. After Muhammad of Ghur died, Yildiz, one of the rivals, took control of Ghazni. But Yildiz could not hold Ghazni for long and had to withdraw to Punjab. Aibak prevented Yildiz from gaining control over Punjab. However, Aibak was worried that the Khwarizm Shah would take Ghazni since it was empty. To stop this, he accepted the invitation of Ghazni's citizens and took control of the city in 1208. But Aibak was unpopular with Ghazni's people, and eventually Yildiz retook the city. 7. Maintaining control over India. Even though Aibak lost Ghazni, he succeeded in stopping Yildiz from gaining control over Delhi or India. He focused on protecting his kingdom in India rather than getting involved in faraway Central Asian politics. This focus helped keep the Delhi kingdom safe and stable. 8. What can we learn from Aibak's actions? Aibak was a careful and strategic leader. He understood the importance of defending the frontier, Lahore and Punjab. He tried to control important cities like Ghazni, but avoided getting stuck in endless battles far from his base. He kept his eyes on the bigger goal, protecting the Delhi kingdom. His leadership helped the young Turkish kingdom survive in a very dangerous and unstable time. Summary of key points with examples. What happened? Why it matters. Example to understand. Delhi kingdom was new and weak. New kingdoms are easy to attack, like a baby in a room full of adults. Khwarizm Shah wanted Ghazni and Delhi. Controlling key cities gives power, like a king wanting to own a treasure chest. Aibak moved to Lahore. Defense needs to be close to danger, like standing at the door to stop thieves. Yildiz took Ghazni but lost Punjab. Rivals fight for power but can be stopped, like two players fighting over a toy, one losing some parts. Aibak took Ghazni, but was unpopular. Winning a place doesn't mean winning people's hearts. Like a new teacher who students don't like, Aibak focused on protecting India. Staying strong at home is more important than fighting far away. Like guarding your own house before chasing thieves in another street. Final thought. The story shows how Qutb-ud-Din Aibak used smart leadership to protect a young, weak kingdom surrounded by strong enemies. He fought many battles, made tough decisions, and managed to keep the kingdom safe despite many dangers from Central Asia and inside his own ranks. Would you like me to explain any word, person, or place more deeply? Or maybe the bigger historical background of this time? Just ask. Sure. Here's a deep, clear, and detailed summary of the passage you gave, explained in very simple language, like teaching a total beginner or a child. I will break it down step by step, covering all the events, people, places, and why everything was important. Who was Ikhtiyar-ud-Din Khalji? Ikhtiyar-ud-Din Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khalji was a Turkish military commander. He worked under the Delhi Sultanate and had conquered Bihar and Bengal, eastern India, around 1200 CE. He expanded Islamic rule into eastern India. But soon, he died, and this caused problems. What happened after his death? His death created a crisis. Bengal and Bihar were far away from Delhi, and after his death, it looked like they might stop following Delhi's rule. Delhi, the capital, was afraid that these distant regions would become independent. Who tried to take power? A man named Ali Mardan Khan tried to become the new ruler of Bengal. He declared himself an independent king at Lakhanauti, capital of Bengal. But the local Khalji chiefs, other powerful men from Ikhtiyar's group, didn't like this. What did the Khaljis do? They arrested Ali Mardan and put him in prison. They replaced him with Muhammad Sharan as the new leader of Bengal. What did Ali Mardan do next? Ali Mardan managed to escape from prison. He traveled to Delhi, where Qutb-ud-Din Aibak was the ruler. He begged Aibak to help him take back Bengal. How did Delhi respond? Aibak sent his officer Qaimaz Rumi to Bengal to solve. Qaimaz had a hard time, but he was able to chiefs to accept Aibak as their overlord, supreme king. In the end, Ali Mardan was made governor of Bengal, but he had to send yearly tribute, gifts, or money to Delhi as a sign of loyalty. What was Aibak doing during this time? Qutb Aibak was extremely busy with 1. Problems in Bengal, like this one. 2. Fighting and ruling in the northwest, places like Punjab near Afghanistan. Because he was busy with these, he could not fight against the Rajputs, Hindu war in western India. How did Aibak die? In the year 1210 CE, Aibak was playing polo, a sport on horseback. He fell from his horse, got badly injured, and died. What happened after his death? He was buried at Lahore in present-day Pakistan. But even though he was the first important independent Turkish sultan of northern India, his tomb was very plain and not grand. It was not suitable for someone of his importance. Why is all this important? This story shows the early struggles of the Delhi Sultanate to control faraway regions like Bengal. It shows that local rulers did not always obey Delhi and had their own ambitions. It also shows that military power and loyalty were key to keeping the empire together. Aibak's death also showed that even powerful rulers could die unexpectedly, and their legacy could be forgotten if not honored properly. Summary in one paragraph, simple style. After Ikhtiar-ud-Din Khalji died, the eastern regions of Bengal and Bihar were in danger of breaking away from the Delhi Sultanate. A man named Ali Mardan tried to make himself the independent ruler of Bengal, but local Khalji chiefs opposed him, jailed him, and made someone else the leader. Ali Mardan escaped, went to Delhi, and asked Qutb Aibak for help. Aibak sent his officer Kaimaz Rumi, who convinced the Khalji chiefs to accept Delhi's authority. In the end, Ali Mardan was made governor, but he had to send tribute to Delhi. Meanwhile, Aibak was too busy with problems in Bengal and the northwest to fight the Rajputs. He died in 1210 from a fall during a polo game, and though he was an important king, he was buried in a very simple tomb in Lahore. Would you like a timeline chart or map to go with this summary? Or a character list with easy explanations? Here is a great, deep summary of the full passage about Qutb Aibak, written in the most simple and clear English, like I'm explaining, step by step, with all important points made easy. Simple and deep summary of Qutb Aibak's life and rule. Qutb Aibak was a brave and talented military leader. He started his life as a poor slave, a person owned by someone else. But through his courage and skill, he rose to become a famous general and later a king. He worked under Muhammad of Ghur, who was the ruler of a kingdom based in Ghazni. As a military commander, Aibak was very brave and fearless. He took part in many battles in India for his master Muhammad. He helped to defeat many Indian rulers and captured many towns and kingdoms in northern India, called Hindustan at the time. He was one of the main reasons why Muhammad of Ghur became so successful in India. As a ruler, after Muhammad died, Aibak became a ruler in India, but during his short rule, he did not win any new territories. This was mostly because he was too busy with managing the areas he already controlled, and also because his rule didn't last very long. His interests and character. Aibak was not just a soldier, he also loved learning and books. He supported and gave money to writers and scholars. Two famous writers, Hasan Nizami and Fakhr Mudir, even dedicated their books to him. He also loved architecture, building beautiful buildings. What he built. Aibak built two famous mosques, Muslim places of prayer, using stones from destroyed Hindu temples. 1. Quwat Islam Mosque in Delhi. 2. Adhai Din Ka Janpura in Ajmer. These acts show that he did not respect other religions and instead destroyed non-Muslim places of worship. His generosity and cruelty. Muslim writers say he was very generous. They called him Lakha Buksh, which means giver of lakhs. He gave money in huge amounts. But they also say he was cruel in war. He killed lakhs, hundreds of thousands of people during his military campaigns. So he had two sides. He gave a lot of money, but he also caused a lot of death and destruction. Religious tolerance. Aibak did not believe in religious freedom. He did not allow Hindus or others to worship freely. But there are two cases where he asked his master Muhammad of Ghur to forgive Hindu kings who were defeated in war. So he may have shown mercy sometimes. Not a builder of the state, Aibak was not a planner or reformer. He did not build schools, courts, or public offices. He did not improve the government system or make new rules for better administration. Unlike later rulers like Alauddin Khilji or Akbar, Aibak focused more on war than on ruling the country well. His biggest achievement, his greatest success, was that he broke India's connection with Ghazni. Before this, rulers in India followed orders from Ghazni. Aibak made India independent from Ghazni and started local Muslim rule from Delhi. This laid the foundation for what would later become the Delhi Sultanate, a new Muslim empire based in India itself. Final simple summary points. Aibak rose from being a slave to becoming a king. He was a brave soldier and a loyal commander to Muhammad of Ghur. He helped conquer much of northern India. He loved books and buildings and gave money to writers and architects. He was generous, but also very violent in war. He did not respect other religions or try to build a better society. His biggest achievement was making India free from Ghazni's rule. Would you like me to turn this into a story, a timeline, or easy question-answer form for even better understanding? Sure. Here's a deepest, detailed, and clear summary of the story about Shah and the early Turkish kingdom simply. Deep, detailed summary of Aram Shah's story, 1210 to 1211. 1. The beginning. Qutub-ud-Din's death. Qutub-ud-Din Aibak was the first Turkish ruler who started a new kingdom in India. His death, just a few years after founding this kingdom, caused big confusion. Imagine a company losing its founder suddenly. Everything becomes uncertain. 2. Aram Shah becomes king. After Qutub-ud-Din died, his officers in Lahore, important city, made his son, Aram Shah, the new king. But Aram Shah was young, weak, and not experienced. This was like putting an inexperienced person in charge during a difficult time. Delhi's citizens rejected Shah. The people of Delhi, the capital, did not support Aram Shah. They wanted a strong leader who was a good soldier and experienced administrator because the kingdom was still new and faced many problems. It's like workers refusing to follow a boss they think is not capable. 4. Invitation to Iltutmish. The chief magistrate, main official of Delhi and other citizens invited Iltutmish, who was governor of Badaun and Qutub-ud-Din's son-in-law, to become king. Iltutmish was strong, experienced, and connected to the royal family through marriage. 5. Aram Shah refuses to step down. Aram Shah did not want to give up his throne. He prepared to fight Iltutmish to keep power. This created a power struggle, like two people competing for the same boss's job. 6. Rival governors take advantage. Because of this fight, some governors in far-off places acted independently. Nasir-ud-Din Kubasha took control of Multan. Ali Mardan Khalji of Bengal stopped acknowledging Delhi's authority. This led to the kingdom being divided into 4 parts, weakening central control. 7. The battle between Aram Shah and Iltutmish. Aram Shah, with the help of Lahore's people, fought Iltutmish, who had declared himself king in Delhi. But Iltutmish was stronger and defeated Aram Shah easily. Aram Shah's rule lasted only about 8 months and ended in defeat or death. 8. Aftermath. Iltutmish becomes king. After Aram Shah's fall, Iltutmish became the ruler. He was a capable leader who brought stability to the kingdom, unlike Aram Shah's short and weak reign. 9. Importance of this period. This story shows how early Turkish rule in India was unstable after Qutub-Din's death. Leadership struggles and regional governors' independence nearly broke the kingdom apart. The citizens of Delhi wanted a strong ruler to keep the kingdom united and secure. Key takeaways. Sudden death of a founder causes confusion and power struggles. Weak leaders lose support quickly, especially in difficult times. Strong, experienced leaders are needed to hold a new kingdom together. Family ties and proven skill matter in choosing a leader. Regional leaders may try to become independent during times of central weakness. Iltutmish's rise shows how leadership can restore order after chaos. If you want, I can also explain why Iltutmish became one of the greatest kings, or give you more about the other rulers mentioned. Just ask.